How I Became a Ghost, Chapter 15, The Bending Branch of Treaty Talk. I learned something else, Joseph said. Our leaders are with us. What do you mean? I asked him. Not every Choctaw is walking. Behind the lead wagon, there is another wagon. Choctaw councilmen ride in this wagon. It is not big enough for all of them, so some walk while others ride. They switch out several times a day when someone is too tired to walk. They can't know everything the soldiers do, but they watch them. That is why the soldiers bring us milk and corn. They have to feed us. They have to keep us safe. Why? I asked. That is what the treaty says, Joseph said. They have to take us safely to our new home in the West. Was that was what they agreed at the treaty talk. I wish I never heard a treaty talk, I said. Before treaty talk, we had our homes. With no treaty talk, old man and old woman would still be alive, and Nita and Mr. and Mrs. Jonah, too. Joseph lowered his eyes and looked away without responding. I wish I hadn't mentioned his grandparents, old man and old woman. I could see it made him sad and think of them burning in the fire. What should we do? I finally asked. We should help Naomi escape. The soldiers cut her hair. They made her wear boys' clothes. She does everything for them, just like I did. She cooks their meals. She washes their clothes. She feeds their horses. Do you have a plan? Yes, Joseph replied. The best plan of all. We wait. We stay close and we watch and we wait. We wait for a sign, I said. Yes, he said. You are a smart young man. Do you know about me? I had to ask him. Joseph smiled and I nodded. Yes, he said. Why do you think I wanted your help? Your brother Luke is bigger and faster. I asked you to help because you see ghosts, and a ghost will bring you a sign. We did not have to wait long. I followed Joseph to the creek a half mile from camp. We found a tree with thick limbs hanging almost to the ground. He grabbed the lowest limb and swung himself from one limb to the next until he was out of sight. Come on up, he said. Nobody can see us up here. I gripped the limb and was about to climb when a warm shiver came. Oh, come on, Joseph said. I'll help you up. His hand reached down for me, but all I could see was a cloudy mist. Old man appeared before me. Isaac, I'm worried for my grandson. You must warn Joseph. You must be careful. The soldiers are waiting for him. They know he is here. We want to find Naomi, I said. You must go alone, Isaac. They will not hurt you. Go to the Choctaw Council wagon and tell them your father has sent you to help them. Joseph can stay in the woods. He can look out for you, but he must not be seen. What should I do? While you are working, keep an eye out for Naomi. I will be there. And as suddenly as he appeared, old man was gone. I looked at Joseph, sitting on the tree limb. You saw a ghost, didn't you? He said. Yes, it was your grandfather. What did he say? I climbed the tree before I spoke. What I said was too important to yell out loud for anyone to hear. When I sat next to him, I spoke in a whisper. Joseph, your grandfather is scared for you. He told me to warn you. The soldiers know that you are here. How can they know that? I don't know, but your grandfather is speaking the truth. He is a ghost. He sees things people can't see. We are going to rescue Naomi, Joseph said. Did you tell him that? I wish I could talk to him. Yes, I told him. He has a plan. I told Joseph about me helping the Choctaw councilman in the wagon close to Naomi. I'll stay close as I can, Joseph said, when he bowed his head and spoke in a quiet, serious voice. I know these soldiers, he said. I know what they will do. Isaac, when you see them, when you get close to them, remember, they are the same men who burned our houses while we slept inside. They tried to burn us all, burn us alive. And when that didn't work, they acted so kind and gave us blankets, and the blankets killed most of our friends. I know, I remember, I said. I try not to be afraid, Joseph, but I'm more afraid than I've ever been in my whole life. And you are smart to be, he said, lifting his eyes to mine. We climbed down the trees and made our way through the wagons. Thinking of Joseph's warning, I stayed in the shadows, moving as quietly as I could from one clump of trees to the next. Be careful how you step, Joseph whispered. The soldiers send out patrols. If they hear the leaves rattle, they won't wait to see what it is. They'll fire their shotguns. Nothing would make them happier to kill two Choctaw boys sneaking through the woods. The forest was thick with snaking vines and bushes at the base of the trees. I knew that no Choctaw farmers had ever lived here. By nightfall, we neared the council wagon. Hokey, Joseph said, pointing at the wagon. Here's where you take over. Joseph, don't say that. I need you now more than ever. Sorry, he said. I'll be right with you, invisible as a ghost, he joked. I stepped from the woods to the camp. 10 older Choctaw men and women sat by the fire eating bowls of poshafa. A thin man with gray hair stood when I entered the camp. Halito, he said, welcome to our camp. Yoki, I replied. I am Nani Huma, and these are my fellow Choctaw councilmen, he said, gesturing to the circle of people. My name is Isaac, I replied. I'm from a small town in the swamp to the south. I would like to offer my help. I can gather wood to make a fire. I can hunt and fish if you need me to. The councilman laughed. We get our food from the supply wagon, said Nani Huma. He was smiling, but I could see he was trying his best not to laugh at me. I liked him already. Do you have a family on the walk? He asked. Yes, my mother, father, and a big brother. They will be worried about you, Isaac, Nanny Huma said. You should let them know where you are. My parents gave me permission to leave camp, I said. I hate lying to Nanny Huma, and although I hadn't really told a lie, I was not telling him the whole truth. I decided to tell him everything as soon as I could. Isaac, said Nanny Huma, Yakoki, for your kind offer. If you will wait by the wagon, we need to talk for a few minutes. I moved to the road and stood by the wagon. I watched as the councilmen huddled together. They spoke quietly, and I knew they were deciding what to do about me. After a few minutes, Nanny Huma stood and waved. Hoki, Isaac, he said. I stood before Choctaw Council. I knew this was an important day for me. We have decided you can join us, Nanny Huma said. Yakoki, I said, nodding to everyone. I will show you every respect. I was greeted with warm smiles as I walked from one to the other. They each took my hand and said nice things to me, and I felt welcomed. Have you had any supper yet? Nanny Huma asked. Let me get you a bowl of soup, the councilwoman said. Please, I said, I am here to help you. Let me serve myself. The councilman laughed again, a laugh that let me know that they were glad I was here. After supper, I took the bowls to the creek and washed them clean. I scattered the logs to put on the fire. I even helped the very old man to his feet. Nanny Huma gave me a thick blanket. You can sleep by the fire, he said. If it rains, we have a small tent by the wagon. Climb inside and sleep by the door. For a brief moment, I wished everything was different. I wished I was not on a mission to rescue Naomi. I wished I were the helper of the Choctaw Council, not a boy who would soon be a ghost. Maybe I can be a Choctaw councilman someday, I thought. Then I returned to the real world. I could never be a Choctaw councilman. They would never elect a ghost to be a councilman. I hoped that my first night with the Choctaw Council would be peaceful, but that was not to be. Nana Huma was smarter than I thought. He knew I had a secret, and it didn't take him long to learn the truth.